Bonjour, mes amis. No rush. Take your seat. No rush. Let me first say, if you don't want to get your picture in the paper, don't march with members of this congregation. Well done, folks. Well done. Welcome, everyone, to the weekly service of the First Unitarian Congregation of Ottawa. Whether you are here with us in Worship Hall or watching from wherever you may be, welcome. I'm the Reverend Eric Meter, this congregation's lead pastor, and I'm thrilled to be with all of you as we settle into the beginning of autumn. This morning I am joined by Jen, our music director, Guy, our worship associates, and several members of Ontario's Aboriginal Housing Services, two of which will be speaking to us later. Welcome to you all. You'll notice that we're continuing to start with our young ones with us once again. Welcome, welcome. Some great art is being made already. Please don't mind if any of the younger ones or anyone of any age, come to think of it, gets up and moves quietly around. Bodies need to do that from time to time, as I understand it. And speaking of moving, please rise now as you are willing and able, and we will join our voices in song for a couple of songs. The first may not be that familiar, so Jen is going to run it through us. The second song is a tune I think will be familiar. Jen, can you help get us started?
Sure. We're starting with number 277 in your gray hymnals, which is our new piece. And I'll wait for the words. There they are. When we went onward to our land, like dreamers we shall be, like leaping rivers in the spring, we'll joyful be and free. For though our sowing work is hard and tears do freely flow, on harvest day we'll shoulder sheaves, our hearts will overflow. And next we have 159, also in your gray hymnal. This is my song, a very familiar tune. This is my song, O God of all the nations, a song of peace for lands afar and mine. This is my home, the country where my heart is. Here are my hopes, my dreams, my holy shrine. But all the hearts in other lands are beating with hopes and dreams as true and high as mine. My country's skies are bluer than the ocean, and sunlight beams on clover leaf and pine. But other lands
Good morning, everyone. Once again, welcome to the First Unitarian Congregation of Ottawa. My name is Guy, and I'm delighted to be your worship associate this morning. Whether you're taking part in this worship celebration from your home or wherever else you may be, whenever you may log on, you are welcome here. We acknowledge that our FirstU campus is located on the traditional, unsurrendered, and unceded Algonquin Anishinaabe territory, and that the work of reconciliation is a responsibility of our congregation and of all Canadians. Our goal is to educate ourselves and all who have the ability to understand, to be of service to those who are at risk, and to advocate for justice. Do take care and take advantage of online opportunities at FirstU to stay in touch during this protracted pandemic. If you are new to FirstU and would like to learn more about us, please contact us through our email at welcome@firstunitarianottawa.ca. And if you're right here in Worship Hall with us this morning, and you would like more information, boy, my words are not coming well today, and you would like more information about FirstU, it's available at the welcome table right in the back, along with an amazing supply of orange shirts. And now, here's Amy from our board, making her way up, to highlight our announcements for today.
Thank you, Guy. Hi, everybody. So my first announcement has to do with Leadership Council. Leadership Council is a way for leaders in our congregation to stay connected, and it will be Tuesday, October 4th. I believe it's at 7. It's not in there. I believe it's 7 on Zoom. And it's a quarterly, oh, I already said that. And the special presentation this time will be on giving up racism together. And all are encouraged to attend as well. So if you look in the EUU, then the information for how to sign up is there. My second announcement has to do with the Nominating Committee. As the name would suggest, it is how we nominate people to spots of leadership in our congregation. So for committees of the board, board members, etc. So it's an opportunity to get to know different people in the congregation. And if you do know lots of people in the congregation, it's also helpful. And we have 2 vacancies right now. So if you feel like you might be a good fit for that, you can email Brent Nicole or Joe Connor. And my third announcement, everybody's gonna do drum roll. Everybody do a drum roll. We're having Messy Church downstairs next Sunday. It starts, yay! It starts at 9:30. If you're a grandparent or a parent of a child under 8, please come down to the Now Room on Sunday next week and join us. It's gonna be amazing. I'm gonna be there with my 2 little ones. I'm sure that lots of other people are gonna be there with their little ones as well. And we're all really excited. So there'll be storytelling, there'll be people from our congregation singing. There's also gonna be pancakes, so you have to RSVP so that they know how many pancakes to make. You're gonna RSVP to Lisa Sharp at rogers.com. Lisa Sharp, no E, at rogers.com. And did I get everything? Hold on. Anyway, it's gonna be great. And now Donna Bowen-Willer with the ERG announcement.
Hi, I'm Donna Bowen-Willer from the Environmental Action Group. So a big thanks to everyone who came out to support the Fridays for Future Ottawa Gatineau youth at the climate strike on Friday. And as you say, we made page 2 of the Ottawa Citizen. So take a look at that either online or in the news. Kayoki was one of the speakers at the afternoon rally on the Hill, and he was sharing the story of a Jashke. And one of our ways that our congregation is acting for reconciliation is through the Ajashki Project, and they're inviting you, remember, to visit the volunteer room after the service and share in the abundance of greens, edible greens, and learn a little bit more about the project. So each Sunday after service, that's good. Other important events this week, don't forget to attend the mayoralty, the eco debate, not morality. It could be that, couldn't it? Yeah. either in person or Zoom. See it on the Climate Action page, and don't forget to register. It should be a good event. And one other announcement, the Group of 78 is holding their annual conference this week. Many interesting sessions on transforming international finance for a more secure and environmental future. So see the Climate Action page. I've got one more really important announcement, and I only found out the information about this yesterday, so it didn't make it into the EUU. Our federal government has promised to cut and cap greenhouse gas emissions for fossil fuels. They're required to give opportunity for public input. I just found out the public input for this the final date is the 30th of September, so Friday. So it means we don't have long to get our input in. The oil and gas companies have hundreds of paid lobbyists who are lobbying the government, trying to pressure them to take fewer actions and to take longer time, like 10 years instead of 3 years. And those of us who know we don't have time for it to take 10 years and we need immediate action need to get our point of view in. So those of you who recognize the necessity that we do this, I would really appreciate letting anybody who would like to do that get in touch with me. I've put some papers on the back that have links to a toolkit that you can use. Let me know if you're interested. I can send you the information by email. The toolkit allows you to do things in huge detail, or if you don't have much time, it allows you to go to a place and say, okay, this is what I think. But if you want to think it out, there are videos and all kinds of information. So let me know if you would like me to send you the information, or there are some sheets of paper at the back. Thanks a lot. Hope we get lots of people inputting.
There we go. Thank you, Donna. So after the service, if you like what you see here and you'd like to join us, we do have a hospitality hour on Zoom. You have a couple options. If you want to race back to your house before 11:30 and join us on Zoom that way, you can do that. Or you can join us in the lounge, where we'll have there's like a thing they set up, and that you can see the people that are on Zoom from there. So if you'd like to join us in the lounge or from home, you're more than welcome to do that. And I hope to see you there. Sorry. During the continuing pandemic, we encourage you to sign up to receive the EUU, our weekly newsletter, to check Facebook and Instagram, and our webpage for notices and updates. Our calendar continues to be full with both online and in-person activities, so we'd really like to see you at any of those that you might feel comfortable doing. Whatever your heritage, whatever your faith, whomever you love, and however you identify, you are a part of our spiritual community. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you, Amy. In a moment, we will light our chalice. Let me ask, is there anyone who would like to help me light our chalice this morning? If not, I'm just getting the startle candle ready. This is all prelude. Testing my skills here. Oh, we do. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Can you do that while I say a couple of words to people? We light our chalice to these words adapted from those by Marianne Hatchin Cotter. Welcome to this place of possibility. May we find ourselves in a hearth of love, a home for hope, a refuge for minds in search of truth, unfolding ever beautiful, often a little strange. Here, compassion is our shelter, freedom from protection from the storms of bigotry and hatred. In this abode, may we find both comfort and courage. Here may our sight become vision, to see the unseen, to glimpse the good that is yet to be. Thank you. Thank you. Good morning again. In a little bit, our guests are going to be talking about the importance of safe and affordable housing. So I wanted to start by widening the conversation to talk about homes in general. And I was wondering if some of the younger ones might have something to share about if you've ever seen an animal make a home or help maintain a home. How do animals make homes?
A bird makes its home in a nest.
A bird makes a tub and a nest, absolutely. Anything else? And, you know, we're children of all ages here, right? Right? We've got a brave one, another brave one.
At our school, we have a chipmunk next to the staircase.
But how does it make its
It has a hole. It goes down.
All right. All right. I remember once watching, and this was in the springtime, this wasn't an autumn story, watching a bird morning after a big wind came through, pick up the twigs that had fallen on the ground to build a nest. But the twigs were a little bigger than its beak could hold. And so it went down to get the twigs and flew up and dropped them. And fluttered down, picked up the twigs and dropped them. It was heartrending. Have any of you seen animals work to make a home? We got a hand in the back. Is that a yes or is that a comment? You can do both. We're an open congregation here. Hold on. Marilyn.
I have watched beavers chewing on logs and building their homes in there.
A home is one of the most important things in our lives. This isn't just for people. This is for all kinds of animals. You don't even have to be a mammal. You don't have to be human to need the shelter of a home. So keep that in mind when we listen to our guests this afternoon. We all need a safe place to call a home. And now we are going to sing our little ones out to the rest of their important activities this morning. You can take your artwork with you if you're not finished with it yet. Jen, would you lead us in this song?
Beneath our arms we shelter you. You warm our hearts as you pass through. May our love guard you as you go, to help you learn and help you grow.
Our call to worship today is from Kathleen McTeague. You who are brokenhearted, who woke today with the winds of despair whistling through your mind, come in. You who are brave but wounded, limping through life and hurting with every step, come in. You who are fearful, who live with shadows hovering over your shoulders, come in. This place is sanctuary, and it is for you. You who are filled with happiness, whose abundance overflows, come in. You who walk through the world with lightness and grace, who woke this morning with strength and hope, who have everything to give, come in. This place is your calling, a riverbank to channel the sweet waters of your life, the place where you are called by the world's need. Here we offer love. Here we offer gratitude. Here we make a circle from the great gifts of breath, attention, and purpose. Come in. Come. Let us worship together.
Each week, as we gather to worship, we pause to mark events in our lives and in those of close to us by placing a stone in water. The ripples extend through this community to these people gathered and beyond these walls as well. A stone for all those in Canada's eastern maritime regions disrupted by the storm Fiona. Fiona, such a beautiful name. Oh, and one that will be forever tied to devastation. And I'm sure we will be hearing more about what we can do to help those in need there in the hours and days to come. And this morning, if you will, allow me a personal stone. Some of you know that my mother-in-law, Blanche, died a year and a half ago at the age of 103. With children in 3 nations and over 2 continents, meeting her desire to live and die at home was not necessarily easy. Thankfully, 2 women from Blanche's Pentecostal church stepped up. Both women and their husbands soon became part of our extended family. Larry, one of those husbands, was driving on a bad stretch of road this last Thursday night when a semi hit him head on. We know he will be paralyzed. The question remains whether he will be able to breathe on his own without assistance. A stone now for Larry and all those who love him. And finally, as always, a stone for the joys and sorrows, the challenges that remain temporarily, at least, in the silent sanctuary of our hearts. For all that has been named now and more, we gather for a few moments of stillness and in silent meditation. It didn't make it into the program, and so let me just say or ask, is there anyone here from the congregation's Truth and Reconciliation Action Group? Please, come forward. I didn't see you back there, Mike. My apologies. Come on, come on.
Thanks, Reverend Eric. This is, speaking of home, this is my family's first return to the service after the pandemic, so we're very happy to be here. So I'm a member of the Truth and Reconciliation Action Group, and before I have some announcements and updates on behalf of our group. I wanted to leave you with a moment of reflection. There's a combined 325 recommendations that came out of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission and the National Inquiry into Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls, and most of these remain unfulfilled. So that's about one recommendation for each day of the year, and just a quick reminder that there's still a lot of work to do. My name's Mike Lloyd, member of FirstU's Truth and Reconciliation Action Group. We call it TRAG for short. We're a small but dedicated group focusing on education and actions linked to the many forms of reconciliation. Some things we're doing are we're offering an uncolonizing focus group both to FirstU congregants and members of the fellowship. That's starting soon on October 2nd. It's a series of monthly sessions over a 6-month period that intentionally challenge internal bias while allowing participants to support one another while working through the materials. There still may be spots left, so for more information, check out the most recent Spire, and I believe it was mentioned in the EUU as well. Some things we're working on. We're hoping to hold a sharing circle with the congregation. Sharing circles come out of Indigenous culture and are structured. They're structured, but they're also an informal way for people to gather with diverse understandings to come together and share and learn from one another. We haven't finalized details yet, but we intend for them to be engaging and informative. Please check upcoming EUUs for more information. We're also putting together our work plan for the next year and welcome input. We're looking for ideas that touch on reconciliation, how we can link with our focus on climate action, our ongoing congregational focus, as well as the 8th principle. Please reach out to us before October 22nd. Now for some events happening around National Truth and Reconciliation Day. Oh, did I hear someone talk? Oh, I heard it. Someone reading. So it's on the 30th. The first one that we have on our radar is today. It's this afternoon at 1 o'clock. The CUC is having a national worship service called Unsettled and Unafraid. It'll reflect on what the process of uncolonizing ourselves might look and feel like. And both of those, there's also an online art therapy workshop after. So they're happening out of the West Coast. So our time is 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. and you can go to the website, the CUC website for that. The next two events are local and they're happening centered on Parliament Hill in downtown. The first one was, I don't know if it's still, it was above me. It was the walk to support the renaming of the Sir John A. Macdonald Parkway just behind us. And it's led by Algonquin activist Albert Dumont. So that's on September 30th, starting at 8:30 a.m. You can send an email to trag@firstunitarianottawa.ca for any information around the events that I'm naming here. A group of us will be meeting up so we can share that information with people. Also around the 30th, September 29th and 30th is Mamawi Together Survivors Gathering. September 29th, there'll be hopefully a big gathering at Le Breton Flats, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Speakers include Algonquin Elder Claudette Commanda and Senator and Truth and Reconciliation Commission Chairman Marie Sinclair. September 30th is it's a longer day. It starts with a sunrise ceremony at Le Breton Flats. Morning events will happen on Parliament Hill, and then from Parliament Hill to Le Breton Flats, there'll be a walk starting at 11:30. And I think I have a couple of other ones, but they're not till the week after next, so I think I'll cede my time here. I hope each and every one of you are able to participate in National Truth and Reconciliation Day in whatever capacity you're able, and I just want to sincerely thank everyone for being here today, online or in person. Thanks.
I'd like to invite Chalice up to sing for us today. The piece which they're going to perform for you is Resilience by Abby Batinis. It has a very simple but powerful message of perseverance, continuing on in the face of obstacles, and making a new path forward and new plans. Sorry.
We are strong, shoulder to shoulder, keep moving on. Resilience, make a new plan, stand up again and say, yes, we can. Resilience, we are strong, shoulder to shoulder, keep moving on. Resilience, make a new plan, stand up again and say, yes, we can. Resilience, oh, we are strong, shoulder to shoulder, keep moving on. Resilience, make a new plan, stand up again and say, yes, we can. Resilience, oh, we are strong, shoulder to shoulder, keep moving on. Resilience, make a new plan, stand up again and say, yes, we can. Resilience.
Thank you, Chalice Choir. Among our special guests this morning from Ontario Aboriginal Housing Services are Dr. Dawn Harvard and Justin Marchand. Dr. Harvard is the agency's longest-serving board member and vice chair, and also past president of the Ontario Native Women's Association. And she will come forward in just a moment, and at the close of her remarks to us, she will introduce Justin Marchand, OAHS's Executive Director. Dr. Harvard, let's begin with you. Welcome.
Miigwech. Thank you for that lovely introduction, and thank you all for having me here today and having us from Ontario Aboriginal Housing. I want to say Ani, Bojo, Sego, Segoli, Skanagoa, bonjour, good morning. I know if I kept going, eventually I would get to one that we all know. It was funny, on our way here, my mother called and said that she was going to be coming to my house this afternoon, and she was going to stay for a couple of days. She was on her way to a meeting in Montreal. And she always travels with her little dog. And I was thinking about this when you were talking about all the homes that people make and that animals make. So she was coming with her little dog, and she said, don't worry, because I said, well, I'm not there. And she says, I'll just go sit up in the spare room. And I said, well, I've got 6 feral kittens living in the spare room right now. Not sure they're going to appreciate the dog. More importantly, I don't think the dog will appreciate them. They're pretty spicy. So then she says, don't worry, I can sleep in the library. And I was like, oh, I have 5 feral kittens with a respiratory infection in that room, so I don't think they're going to be happy there either. And she says, not a problem, I'll sleep in the sunroom. And I was like, oh, Mom, I hate to say it, but I have a feral mama with 6 babies in that room, so I currently have almost 20 feral kittens running through my home because they needed a home to keep them out of the elements so that all of those babies. And when I think about all of our babies in our communities, all of these little ones here, that they need that home in order to be able to thrive, to survive, to grow, and reach that full potential. And when we all wear our orange shirts and we remember that every child matters, we think about the fact that right now we have more Indigenous children in the care of the child welfare system than we did during the residential school era in those residential schools. And that's not because we're bad parents. You know, I had the national chiefs say, yeah, you love your kids. Why do we have so many in care? And I used to teach at Queen's University in the Faculty of Education. And we taught the teachers, the teacher candidates, you know, what they're supposed to look for in professional duties. And they teach them, you know, when you have a child who comes to school without a lunch, that's neglect. That's your duty to report. When you have a child who comes to school and then they're not clean, that's neglect. This is Canada. When you have a child that comes to school in November, December, January with no proper boots, no warm hat, no mittens, not a proper winter coat, that's neglect. When you have a child that comes to school and they're not clean, that's neglect. That's not neglect. That's poverty. When you have a mother who has to choose between paying her rent and providing food for her family, when that child comes to school without a lunch, it's not because mom was too lazy to get up, it's because mom herself went without food the week before, and they just don't have enough to get to the end of every month. When those kids show up to school and they're not clean, it's because maybe they're sleeping on someone's couch or a shelter or in a car because they don't have a roof over their head. And when that child comes to school without mitts, it's not because mom doesn't take care of them. It's because they probably lost that one pair that mom did buy, and now they don't have enough to pay for more. And I know, because I have 3 daughters, and every October I go and I buy about 40 pairs at the dollar store because my kids lose a pair a week. I don't know why they can't keep track. I'm actually going to get us one of those strings like the little ones have and put it through my 17-year-old because she's the one who loses the most. But if you don't have the money to buy that first pair, how do you replace them? And this is hard for us, you know, when we're talking about core housing need. Justin and I meeting with those families that are in a 2-bedroom house and we can't put them anywhere else and they have 3, 4 kids. You know, those hearts go out. We want to do more. And it gets frustrating and it can become paralyzing. And we all saw as those unmarked graves were being unearthed, that paralyzing understanding of how we would feel if we dropped our child off at school in the morning. We count on the fact that they will be there at 3:30. What we would feel like if our child was in the backyard. There is not enough whiskey in the world to drown away that kind of pain. So we begin to understand how problems with addictions come about. and how we end where we were today, how we've come to this point. And it's hard, as Justin said, being one of the longest standing board members, year after year, to have to listen to moms beg for a bigger house because they have, kids, 3 kids sharing a room. And on days when you feel like I just don't want to do this anymore, I don't want to face. And I was in New York, and I had one of those days where I was just like, I just can't face this anymore. I just can't do this. I'm just going to go back to bed, pull the covers over my head, and pretend this world doesn't exist. And this woman from Peru, she came to me, and she says, I don't understand. It's not like you to give up. She says, you have that hummingbird spirit. And I didn't understand what she meant, because I thought she was just making fun of me because I'm kind of small and feisty. As you can see, when I have to adjust the microphone, I'm a little short. And so I said, well, what? I don't understand. And she said, no, she says, I see you walk up here every day and you have a hummingbird on you somewhere. Because I had these little hummingbird silver earrings that my mother had given me, and I was going to see her that night for dinner, so I made sure I wear them to show I appreciate, right? And she says, but you always wear that skirt with the hummingbirds on it. She said, that's your favorite skirt. And I didn't have the heart to tell her that after weeks of being in New York and all the fancy banquets and the buffet dinners, it had a stretchy waistband, so it was pretty much the only skirt that still fit me. So it became my favorite, but not because of the design, just because it was the only thing that still fit. And she said, no, I'll tell you, and my people, there was a story about that hummingbird. She says, there's a reason you wear that. And she says, long, long time ago when the jungles were burning, all the forests were burning, and everybody had run away, and all the animals, and they were standing on the side watching their homes burn. And they're all arguing about who should do something. The eagle should go in with its wings and put out the fire, or the wolf should run through and kick dirt on the fire. And while they're all busy bickering about who should do what to stop this fire to save their homes, there's this little tiny hummingbird. And that little tiny hummingbird is whipping back and forth to the river, and it's picking up one drop of water in its little tiny beak, and it's flying back to that fire and dropping one drop, one singular drop. And then it rips back to the river and does this again, and all the animals start laughing at him and says, hummingbird, what the heck do you think you're doing? One drop. And without missing a beat of his little tiny singed wings, that hummingbird said, I'm doing the best that I can. And that's what this is all about, and that's why we're all here today, because if we each do one small thing that we can make a difference. We can make a difference for all those kids that don't have homes. Because while one drop might feel like it's insignificant, one tear is nothing. Thousands and millions of drops together become a torrential flood that can wipe out all of downtown Peterborough one year, literally change the physical landscape of the entire city. Millions and millions of drops coming together. And millions of drops coming together can put out those fires of racism and sexism, those fires of ugliness that threaten our world all the time. If we each do one small thing, we can be like that hummingbird and we can change the world we live in. And that's why every day when I have that moment of, I don't want to do this anymore, I realize if I do one small thing every day, that we will have a better world for these little ones when their turn comes to be up here, when their turn comes to lead the congregation and to sing in the choir. That's how we make a difference. And that's why I'm so truly honored to be here today with you, to be part of that tidal wave of change. We've seen it. Fiona. Huge change. One little tiny drop at a time. So I thank you so much for being here. And I want to invite Justin up to tell us about all of the wonderful things that we're doing at Ontario Aboriginal Housing to ensure that every child, all those children in our care, have an opportunity. Justin Marchand is not only the Executive Director of Ontario Aboriginal Housing, he's a very good friend. We have worked together for a very long time, and I will ask him to come up here and join me so that he can introduce himself. And hopefully I didn't go too long over my 10 minutes. Shmigwech, welcome, Justin.
Thank you very much, Don. Ani Buju, Biwane Gindishna Kazmigazido Dem Bawating and Donjaba, Métis Anishinaabe. My spirit name is Fire Rock. My clan is Eagle. I'm from Bawating and I'm Métis. Don and I didn't plan on what each of us were saying, but that was perfect. Exactly what a good segue to what I wanted to touch on today. And funny how that happens when you're trying to do good work and do the work of the people, that Creator will see that, and what's meant to be is what will happen. Thank you for the invite, Reverend Eric. I remember when Jane first reached out to Ontario Aboriginal Housing Services, to myself, and I immediately got this real sense of hope. And we do get a fair amount of outreach, but it's not always followed up with actions. And for whatever reason, I could really feel that when Jane reached out, that this was something that we should be hopeful of, that it could be that one little teardrop or that little ripple, the start of that. And so over the last, not quite year, but over the last 6 months or so, we've been meeting with members of your congregation, with your past president, Lisa, and Brent, Terry, Bill, a number of yous. And we also had some of your executive visit us in Peterborough last month, so that you could see the homes that we built, how we take care of them. And so I just wanted to thank you first for welcoming us to your campus and into your home. So I wanted to mention that we're also joined by Jamie Gauntz as our policy director. I'll get Jamie just to stand up so you know who she is. Thanks, Jamie. And Peggy Rice is our senior housing policy analyst. Thanks, Peggy. I just really wanted to share what I'm so hopeful about this. It's not just the individuals and the families that we're going to be able to house in a new quality building here, but why I'm really so hopeful is that I think Unitarian's leadership here is going to be something that thousands of other congregations in Ontario can look to and see that this can be done, that we can live together in peace, that we can share, that everyone can have a safe place to call home, that we can help each other, that we can walk together. And I think this really is that opportunity. That's that first ripple. This is the first teardrop. And I just, from the bottom of my heart, can't thank you enough for this opportunity, and look forward to being your neighbor for a long, long time. Chimigwech.
This congregation has a long history of care, vitality, random musical trills, and bringing people together to move the arc of justice forward. We've been able to live into our hopes and dreams because of the generosity of those within and beyond this community. Whether you are here in Worship Hall or anywhere else at all, you are part of this community. To make a gift in support of the work of this congregation You don't need to use the baskets that will soon be making their way among our pews. Wherever you are, you're invited to go to our website or contact our finance manager to find out how to make a donation or keep up with your pledge. Our gifts are given freely and gratefully received. We dedicate these gifts to the work of this community of faith, serving human wholeness, caring for the planet, upholding religious freedom, welcoming the stranger, and loving one another. And now, following the theme of our choral piece earlier, please rise as you are willing and able as we join together in our closing hymn, When We Wend Homeward, number 277 in our gray hymnal. Jen?
When we went homeward to our land, like dreamers we shall be, like leaping rivers in the spring, we'll joyful be and free. For though our sowing work is hard and tears do freely flow, on harvest day we'll shoulder sheaves, our hearts will overflow.
Please be seated. You know, Jen, when we talked and picked that song, the phrase, when we went homeward to our land, I didn't realize what that would convey. Not everyone has land to wend homeward to. I'm not sure I can sing that hymn again. Not for a while, anyhow. Good morning. Before we begin to close this time of worship and reflection, a reminder that our online hospitality hour will begin at 11:30. For those who would like access fellowship hour, we are rebranding that thing. It's no longer hospitality hour because, frankly, we don't have coffee and little nibbles to share. It's fellowship hour. We talk and get to know one another. You can do so, as Amy said earlier, out those doors around in the lounge, just on the other side of that wall. There you'll be able to connect with all those joining fellowship hour from home and have discussions with those joining in person. Hopefully before long we'll be able to return to coffee hour here once again. As we prepare to extinguish our chalice and move toward the conclusion of this time of worship and inspiration, let these words from Sarah Lawal guide us forward. When the pull to disappear takes hold, with all its harsh realities, may we conjure up that fierce love to bring our hopeful vision into being, discovering the humility, bravery, goodness still calling us forward. May we breathe into that story and make it come alive. This morning's chalice is extinguished, but the spark of our connections and faith remain. Jen, will you bless us once again?
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion.
Reach out your hands to those around you and to those beyond this space as well. As we prepare to leave now, may our hearts remain open and our minds remain clear. We are people of both reason and heart, of both memory and hope. May we also remain a people of love, providing a place in this world for our spirit and the spirits of others, a place that can only be called home. And now, as we return to the challenge of helping the world come alive in love, let us go forward in peace. My friends, let us go forward in peace. Amen.